Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TBT channel. In this video we're going to be talking about drones. This is a Thursday night video. My shooting videos are Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This one's about drones. It's not instead of a shooting video, it's as well as. And also, it's not your average droney type video. Most videos that you'll see on the internet about drones are for droney type people, made by droney type people. I'm left behind after about the first 30 seconds and don't really understand what they're talking about. So I am going to talk to you about drones from a shooty type person point of view, because a certain amount of shooty type people would actually be interested in drones if they understood them more, I think. And I know an awful lot of you already use them as well. So for the ones that already use them, sorry for my very basic approach to this, but I'm a very basic person just starting out. Now, I like radio controlled toys, you can probably tell. I like flying radio controlled toys. I really do. Planes in particular, like this one here, which I've yet to review, but absolutely fantastic. I like line of sight. It's called line of sight flying, okay, where you fly the plane, you watch the plane. I like a scale plane. I like it to look realistic. I like to fly it realistically. That's what I enjoy doing. Drones aren't like that. That's why I'm not really into drones. Drones don't look like anything real. They don't fly like anything real. They're just a bit, in my mind. Um, but last year, after watching a video, I did buy myself what's called an FPV drone. Now, as opposed to line of sight flying, as you do with a plane, there is what's called FPV, first person view. And that is where you have an aircraft. It can be a plane, but in this case it's a drone with a camera on board, and you fly it by wearing goggles, and then you fly it around looking into the goggles, and you're seeing what the drone's seeing in first person view, FPV. So I got this. It's an 85mm tiny whoop. That's what it's called. It's a tiny whoop, which I thought was awesome. I'll be honest, it was that sold it to me. And I watched a few reviews on it. This is where you get droney reviews. I watched a few reviews on this, and they said, "Oh, this is so easy to fly. Even your granny could fly it." I'd like to meet their granny, because this flipping difficult. It's faster than a fast thing, tiny and agile as agile can be. You kind of try and take off with it. You're looking at a grainy picture inside those goggles, and it's like, boom, and then it's over in Spain. Oh, try and get it back. Oh, it's over in Belgium, and it's just zipping around everywhere. You can't really see what it's doing. The slightest movement on the throttle sends it off into outer space. It's crazy. Now, the FPV guys watching this will be going, "Oh God, you just have to learn how to use it." And you're right, you do, and I will. But I appreciate it's going to take me several hours learning to fly this before I can fly it properly. And that's kind of difficult when you only get a 5 minute flight time off of a battery, and you spend most of your time rummaging around in the hedgerows and bushes looking for the damn thing after you've crashed it. So that has been out a few times, and I will persevere with it, and I will get the hang of it. It just made me think, drones, what a load of faff. But my wife wanted me to get a camera drone because she wanted aerial photographs. She said, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice to take some photo or some video from here?" Blah, blah, blah. I had a camera drone many years ago. In fact, it's here. It is. I've just remembered it is here. This. Oh, it's a bit dusty, but it's a Hubsan Pro thing. What's it? Weighs a ton. A camera goes underneath there. It wobbles around in the sky, occasionally goes out of control, and for when it tips up the wrong way, it's got an automatically deploying parachute. And if this lands on your head, trust me, you're going to know it. That's been there. The batteries are knackered on it. They need replacing. The LiPo battery, so I just haven't bothered. If you know anybody who wants that, I've got the controller as well. The controller needs a couple of switches because a couple of the little three-way switches got snapped during a house move. If you know anybody who wants it, just let me know. So I had one of those, and it was really more trouble than it was worth. You'd take it out, You spend ages trying to set it up, or I would, because I'm techno twat. Ages trying to set it up, get it into the sky, and then spend the next 10 minutes panicking, waiting for it to either fly off out of control, hit something, or drop out the sky like a brick. So I didn't consider it a pleasurable experience, and not one I really wanted to repeat. But my wife wanted a camera drone, or rather, she wanted me to get a camera drone. She won't fly it. So if you watched Sunday's video, this Sunday just gone, you'll see the first camera drone I bought, which didn't end very well. It didn't work, so I took a 38 to it. If you haven't seen that video, find it. I saved €95 by not buying a DJI, and that €95 was not worth saving. So here is what I got, and I'm going to take you through everything that's in here, and I'm going to tell you why I think this is the perfect drone for non-droney guys, for shooty guys, because you can use this while you're shooting as well, believe it or not. This is quite incredible. So I'm going to take you through what's in the box and what this can do. Now, first of all, that's your drone. Okay, it's tiny. All in, it weighs 135 grams, I believe, with the battery. 135 grams. And you can buy this with the battery in place like that. You can buy it like that, just that, for $154.95. Now, I've checked some of the prices this morning on UK websites. I think this was the London Camera Company. These are being sold a lot by photography places. Okay, and we'll get to that. But for 155 quid, you can buy this drone and nothing else. Well, what's the point of that then? You can, if you're interested in this drone, if any of this video interests you, I urge you to go and watch videos by people who know what they're talking about. I'm not pretending to be a guy who knows what he's talking about. I'm trying to tell you what I like about it. And then if you think, oh, I'd like that too, you can then do your research. But I'm telling you what this does. So predominantly in this, guys, on its own, it is an AI-driven selfie camera. You turn it on, you press that button there, and you've got a number of functions it will do. It'll follow you. You can have it so it'll just take off, sit there, and it'll film you. It'll follow you if you're on your push bike. It'll circle around you while you're talking. Really, it's kind of aimed at teenagers, I think. Teenagers with blogs and stuff like that. You can have it film you as it flies around, and if you've got your phone in your pocket, that'll act as a microphone, so you can talk over it, and you can, yeah, okay. But you can also connect it to your mobile phone and fly it through your mobile phone. There's an app. It's got little pretend joysticks on it, and you can fly it around. The problem being it's only using the Wi-Fi signal from the phone, so it won't go very far. And entertainingly, it doesn't have GPS mode if you're using it with your mobile phone. So say you're, I don't know, next to a river, next to a pond, next to a cliff, and you think, oh, this would be a nice place for a photo. You get your little drone out, goes, you get your phone out and you're flying it around. You go, oh, look at me, I'm posing next to a cliff or next to a lake, whatever. And it goes out of Wi-Fi range of the phone. What it does is it hovers there and waits for you to get back into range. So unless you've got a boat or a hang glider, you can't get back into range. So it will sit there looking at you 30 feet away as you go, no. And eventually the battery will run out and it will plummet to the ground or into the water. Aww. Shouldn't laugh, but it is quite funny. But I didn't buy it without a controller, okay? I got what is called the Fly More package, which is where it came with 3 batteries. One's on there, 2 spare batteries, and a controller. And the way this and the sticks for the controller are stored under there. You just screw them in it so it goes into the storage case easily. That part comes up. You clip your mobile phone into the top there, and you've got a choice of cables that you can then plug in to your mobile phone to connect it. You can see what the drone can see through your mobile phone. You can control whether you're videoing, whether you're taking still photos, things like all through the app on the screen, and you just fly it like this. Now, In this mode, GPS is enabled, which means if you go out of range, or if the battery gets too low, or if a number of things that are perilous to its well-being happen, it will simply come back to the point where it took off. And that's brilliant because it means you won't lose the drone. What you do have to do is set a minimum height for it to come back. Now, here's a clip I took when I was flying out the front of the house, and I talk about here setting the minimum height for return to home. So hopefully this part will give you an idea of what I mean by that.
Here we go. Now we're going to fly with audio, which I've discovered I can do, which is nice. So I'm going to take myself up to, what we got there, 12 meters. 12 meters height, and that should mean I glide over the top of the cower cables, maybe even power cables. There they are, look, down below us. That's good. So 12 meters up means I'm over that. What I'm trying to do is I can set my return to home height. So if I lose signal, it'll come home, but the first thing it does is go to a preset height before coming home. So you can see I'm still at 12 meters from where I left off, but I'm only actually physically a very short distance off the ground. So now I'm going to go up until I'm above the height of the trees, and I believe these trees are the highest point that I'm likely to encounter around here. So I'm at 4750 meters exactly, and I know I've got it set to 55, so I think I'm pretty safe. There's the village. It's a nice evening this evening. It's beginning of February. It's been about 17-18 degrees today. It's cooling off a bit now because there's absolutely no cloud, so the heat's disappearing fast. That's my dog whining. Let's see. Let's look down and see where we are. That's our neighbours with all these trees. That's our house. And then back towards the village. Now, I'm currently 104 meters from home. So let's fly along and see what kind of range we get. Putting it into sports mode so it goes faster. Sports mode isn't particularly sporty with this setup. It's only 8 meters a second, which is about 20 miles an hour. You can get an FPV set for this with a different controller and goggles, and that unlocks manual mode, which it will then do 35 or so miles an hour, which is sufficient, I think. So we're now at 220, 240. Just stop there. That's 255 meters from home. I can still, barely, but I can still hear it. I can hear the dogs more. They're wondering why I'm out here talking, I'm guessing. So I'm going to go up higher, because those trees are higher. There's my 55 meters, so I actually need to set it to higher than that, because if I was to lose signal here, it wouldn't get enough height to clear these trees. So really, I'm at 68. I think I need to change that to 75 meters just to be safe. I'm 263.
As you can see, the footage, the actual footage from this drone is very, very stable. It's actually moving all the time. This can't fly in high winds. It can only fly in up to force 4 winds because it is so small and so light. But it'll be twitching like that all the time and moving around. But the gimbal will allow for a lot of it, and the stabilization software allows for the rest. So even in moderate breezes, it gives quite a good picture, surprisingly good. Now it's 30 frames per second 4K is what I've been filming, and that's what you've seen there. It's only a half-inch sensor on the camera there, so it's not the greatest, it's not the best, but it's not very expensive. With 3 batteries and the controller and charger, it was €349, which I think is about 300 quid. And I think from memory this morning when I checked, they're about 300 quid for this Fly More package. So you've got sport mode, where it will do up to about 20 miles an hour. Normal mode does about 16. And cinema mode, which you can use for going around buildings. Now, again, it flies nicely enough. It's got actually quite a long range. I think the range of the radio exceeds the range of the battery. Each battery, it says it will last 18 minutes. I don't see that happening. I think 15 absolute maximum. 12 minutes is where it starts to try and return to home. So I only take mine down to 12 minutes anyway. But at 20 miles an hour, flying flat out, you will not get out of range of the radio, which is quite impressive. And if you were to say, the only way you're going to do it, if you've got line of sight, you're not going to get out of range before the battery goes flat. If you take it the other side of a forest, you may lose range. That's where setting your return to home height comes in, where it goes, I've got no signal, zooms up to whatever height you want, and returns home. So there's that. And honestly, that's great. And it's wonderful. And that's what it was bought for. But it isn't very interesting. To my mind, that isn't very interesting. Oh, let's go and take some film and some photos. Do you know what? There's only so many times you can take off from your front garden and video a sunset before you get actually bored of it. And it was FPV I wanted to do. But then I noticed something good, something awesome. And this really is where this comes alive for me. This is where it starts to work for me. Also, just in the normal video mode with this, you take it somewhere, you hover it, it stays there until you tell it to come back. So if you're doing long range shooting, I am going to be using this for my shooting videos from now on, because I can actually fly this down and hover it next to my target so you can see the targets better while I'm shooting. So shooting, guys, if you're trying to use a spotting scope at 200 meters, use this. Just fly it down there, hover it 5 foot to the side, 5 foot back, safely out the way, and you can see on your screen there where your shot's gone. If you can't see where the shot's gone, you just fly it in closer, have a look, and then take it back to its previous position. It's good for shooters too. Anyway, so how it came alive for me. FPV, first person view. And now this is a revelation. It really is. I've got these DJI goggles. Now these were about £200. Don't quote me. I think they're about £200. So they were 240 something euros. These are digital. Every other ones I've tried in the past have been analog, and they've been grainy, fuzzy, not a very good picture. This is the Goggles N3, the budget version of the goggles. They do more expensive version of this. This is the budget one, but it is still digital. And you put this on, it's like you're flying. Don't know if you've ever had flying dreams. I do. Lucid dreams where you're flying, they're awesome. This makes it a reality. You fly around like it feels like you're flying. You have to be sitting down. If you try and do it standing up, you will fall over, because as you go around the corner and you're banking and stuff like that, it's amazing. It can't be described. It can only be experienced. And you would think, my God, that's going to be difficult, because I tried it with the tiny Whoop and it's mind-buggeringly difficult. But I also got this controller. Ouch. Here. This is the Motion 3 controller, which works in conjunction with the Neo and with the goggles. And it's got, what are they called? The little inertia things inside of it. Is it accelerometers and stuff like that? So basically, you've got buttons on and off, mode buttons, return to home button. You've got something to tilt the camera. You've got a thing for the menu, because while you're flying, you can hit pause. Then you can alter camera settings, alter speeds and things like that, and then go back to the flight while it's flying, which is awesome. And there's a record button there. Now, there is a way of recording what you see through here as well as what the drone does. I'm not technically minded, you know that. I haven't figured that one out yet. But the first time I flew this with this controller, everything just felt instinctive and natural, and it is so easy. Honestly, anybody could do this. And if you just let go of everything, it just stops and hovers. And if you let go of everything, oh, I don't like it, you press the home button, it will come home to you. But essentially what you've got is you've got an accelerator and you've got a reverse. Okay. So if you want to go forwards, you pull that. The more you pull it in, the faster it goes. If you use it in sports mode, which I do, it'll do 20 miles an hour. Now, if you use a traditional stick FPV controller, which you can buy, it will go a lot faster. I don't want to do that. I like this. And this is going to work. After my operation, I can't use that arm. I can still fly my drone because I can do it with one hand. So you pull the stick, pull the trigger, and it goes forward. You go back like this, back like that, and the drone goes up. Go down like that, the drone goes down. Side to side, the drone turns. And it's otherworldly. It is otherworldly. Here's a little clip of last week when I went to Spain. I was just flying around in a park. This is a little park I found, it wasn't lost, near the apartment we were staying in, Torrevieja. Just a little park surrounded by roads, but there was hardly anybody in it. A couple of dog walkers did go through while I was there. But it was really small. But with this, any space, any small space is your playground. You don't need a lot of room, you don't need a lot of space, you don't need a lot of height, you just rip it around through the trees. It's an awful lot of fun. Now, I will point out the little circle and crosshair thing is a massive benefit going through these trees, because you simply aim the circle for where you want to be and the drone does the rest. I'm still exploring how accurate you can get with it and what kind of perception I need around me, what kind of space I need around me for the actual drone to fit around the shape of the camera. But it's just amazing. An awful lot of fun. One thing to bear in mind while I'm ripping around in here, it would be very, very easy to lose your bearings and forget whereabouts in this park you actually are. But in the goggles, in the screen, while you're looking at it, you've got all kinds of information in there. You've got your speed, you've got your altitude, you've got your battery life remaining, and there's a little H for home, and that's always in the direction of where you are. So if you're flying away from yourself, it'll be at the bottom of the screen. If you're sitting away to the right of the craft, it'll show you on there which direction to turn in to head back towards where you took off from. So that's good as well. And another thing to bear in mind, which I didn't on one of these videos, not the one I'm showing you here, but I did actually, I was enjoying myself so much I wasn't keeping an eye on the battery life, and it got to a point where it wanted to return to home, and I still had it set for 75 meters, which is what I have it set for at home. And it tried to go to 75 meters in all these trees, so all it actually did was crash into the tree and then fall to the ground. So I was just zipping around through those trees like nobody's business. What you can see through the goggles is, as well as the picture that you've seen on the screen just there, and it is that good when you're in the goggles as well, it's that clear, you've got a little circle, okay, and your little circle is what's guided by this. And there's a crosshair. You like it? It's got a crosshair. It's like shooting, guys. Honestly, it's like shooting. So you've got a crosshair, and the crosshair is always trying to get inside the circle. So if you're flying along and you see a gap, you just put the circle on that gap and keep it there by moving your hands, because the drone's moving. You've got to keep it in place, and it'll all line up and it will shoot through that gap. It is amazing. And that's really what's done it for me. Yesterday was Sunday. Today's actually Monday. This will be coming out on Thursday. Yesterday I went along to my flying club the other side of the village with a couple of planes, but I also brought this with me. And on the entrance to the field where the flying club is, the flying club's down through the woods and round the back and blah blah blah, we've got a runway, but at the front near the road there was actually an FPV club meet. And they're flying their FPV drones, and these are the serious ones. If you're doing FPV, these are the ones you guys are using, big things like that. really fast. This does 20 miles an hour. They do 3 or 4 times that speed, but really fast, really difficult to control. And they've got all these hoops everywhere. And the idea is you go through all the hoops around the thing and whoever can do it fastest. Now, I stood and watched them for a while for asking if it was okay if I tried with my little drone. Now, these guys have been doing it for a long time. It is just constant crashing and constant whooshing off into the distance. And I don't know how you're supposed to land an FPV drone because I've not seen anybody do it yet. They just fly it around until it crashes. Then they go and pick it up, bring it back and start again. It's just like that. So they're very fast, very clever, very technical, very hard to control. I said, it's okay if I try with my little drone. Yeah, okay, whatevs. So I took off. This is my first go. I mean, I say this is my first go. This was my only go. I've got quite a few mucky looks because it's not a real FP. It's not a real F. I do understand theirs is much more difficult to control, and it must be quite embarrassing to have somebody turn up with what's essentially just a toy and be able to do it first try and go, any smaller targets. But here's what we saw. So I started out high up because I wanted to get a little bit of speed. I am very aware this is a slow drone, so I wanted to get a bit of speed before I started. And I knew that everybody was watching me, which is why it's quite embarrassing when I missed that first gate. But this is, got that one though. The first time I've tried to do this. So spatial awareness is a thing, and I'm still working out how high off the ground I am. And a few times while I'm doing this, I have caught the grass. So I'm trying to stay up higher than I'd naturally want to while still getting through the gates. But yeah, I still only missed that one. Oh, I did make that one. It was yesterday. I'm trying to remember. So by this time, all the talking had stopped with the other guys. And they're looking at me. And they're looking at this fat old Englishman with his toy drone. Well, I missed that one. Boo. Just whizzing around going through all the gates they've been clattering off of and failing to get through for the last 20 minutes. So yeah, it's an awful lot of fun to do, and it's you really feel like you're in the craft. And 20 miles an hour, when you're going low, it actually feels quite fast. I think it's the what is it, Avada? The Avada 2, which is the larger version of this, goes twice as quick. It will use all the same controllers will work with it. It will go twice as fast, but it's 4 times the weight. So whereas this, I've run it into telegraph poles, I've hit cables, I've hit the walls, I've hit floors, I've hit trees, you name it, I've crashed this into it. There's not a single mark on it anywhere. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, by this time I think I could feel the hate. Somebody's even walked out. Look at that. Someone's even walked out onto the field. That's how unthreatened they feel. I did see him and avoided him there. But I didn't stay for very long. I think this was the only flight I really did. I stood there for like 20 minutes watching them, trying to engage them in conversation. And then, yeah, gave up on it. Hey ho. But I do need to get some of those gates for myself, put them out in the garden, because that would be quite a lot of fun. And that's it. That's what I wanted to tell you about. I wanted to tell you about this drone because it does everything. It can be a selfie drone if you're 18 with a blog. You can use it with a mobile phone if you just want to fly it around and check your gutters or something like that. You can use it with a controller if you want to do cinematography or take aerial photographs. I get it. If people want to do that, I really get it. Not my thing. I will use it for that because there'll be lots of opportunities. There'll be lots of times when I go, actually, I'd quite like a photo of that, or we'll go somewhere to a castle. Oh, let's take some nice pictures of the castle. So it can do that. But most importantly, it is more fun than a barrel of monkeys when you couple it with the goggles and this. Each battery is going to give you 12 minutes easily, 15 at a push. 3 batteries in the kit. The charger that comes with it charges all 3 batteries simultaneously if you use a 65 watt laptop input, which I've got. So all 3 batteries, basically one more battery, just one more battery, and I would never need to stop flying. There's a pause of a few minutes in between, which I suppose is okay because you're changing batteries, changing setup and stuff like that. But one more battery, it'd be literally land, change batteries, put it in the charger, take off, go. And if I was next to a plug point, I could do it all day, and I could do it all day because it is so much fun. And with this and with the goggles, it has the same. I think it's a 5 kilometer range, so it is. It's awesome fun. It really is. If you're thinking of getting a drone, if you're not sure if it's for you, if you think that FPV or just something small, portable that goes in your pocket you can take photos of would be useful for not very much money compared to others, the DJI Neo is worth looking at. But check other videos from people who know what they're talking about, because they'll mention things I've forgotten, because all I am is a numpty playing with his toy. These guys know what they're talking about. But thank you for watching this one. um, Please like, subscribe, hit notifications. More shooting content will be along soon, but there will also be more flying stuff. I will see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.